Thanks everyone for joining me. This is another episode of the Travel Collective where I get to chat with interesting people from all over the world. Today I'm having a conversation with Diana Eden, who lives locally here in Las Vegas, and she's an author. She has a couple books. One is Stars in Their Underwear, which is a fascinating read. And for many of you who know me, I did dabble a little bit in becoming a fashion designer years and years ago. So I'm super excited to hear about Diana's travels, some of her encounters in the designing world. She's had quite a career and tips for women travelers. So welcome, Diana.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, what initially sparked your love of travel?
I grew up in England. I was born in England, and England is kind of close to a lot of places. So even as kids, we were taken to France for a summer beach holiday, and then we immigrated to Canada, and I didn't travel quite as much until later. But it's just part of my DNA, to explore the world and see new places.
Yeah, that's amazing. So just in the past year, what are some of the locations you went to? Because I saw you posting photos from all over.
I know. Well, being retired, or somewhat retired, mostly retired, gives women, my age a lot of free time and opportunities. I am very grateful for that. So I went on three trips last year. I went to St. Martin in the spring. It's kind of my beach week. And then I took a group of my friends to Portugal,
Oh, wow.
and we did Lisbon and Porto. And I say I took them, I didn't pay for them, but I'm one of I'm a good
Yes.
organizer. So I initiated the trip and I said, who wants to go? And I found apartments for us to stay in the middle of the city. So we weren't in hotels. So that was wonderful. And then in August, I went to Maui with a friend and had never been to Maui before.
Oh,
So that was
really?
lovely. Yeah. And I've got three trips coming up this year, which I'm very excited about. So
That's,
lots to talk about and write about. I love to write about my trips too.
yeah, you do some writing for Journey Woman, I
The
believe.
Journey Woman, yes, I am their official over 80 traveler writer.
I would never guess you're over 80. That is
Oh, thank
fabulous.
you. Well, I am mid 80s.
So, how do you choose some of the destinations that you want to go to?
Well, I mean, um, some of them are places that I've never been, such as Portugal. I had wanted to go, and just somehow it had never happened. So last year I said, I want to do Portugal. So being the instigator, I had to find people to come with me, um, and I put together the trip, and they signed on. So that was great. I also love pretty much anywhere in the Mediterranean.
Okay.
You could take me to the south of Spain, or the south of France, or Italy, or Greece, and I'm very happy. So that's a place I like to return to.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about some of those places because I mean, obviously, there's so many places to go in this world. I
Mhm.
mean, just endless.
I know.
And there's
Well, I
places
think
I haven't been to. Like Portugal is on my list to go to.
mhm. Portugal is wonderful. It's such a small country, but it's got such a unique flavor and look to it. Everything is colorful. I mean, the houses, you don't see a gray house in the country at all. The houses are pink and salmon and cream colored and yellow. So it
Ah,
makes you feel happy just being there. And of course, the tiles are very decorative, and you can see them in so many different places. Um, in Porto, was a church just 2 blocks down from our apartment. That
oh,
the whole exterior is covered with blue and white tile.
wow.
Yeah, and even the rail station was highly decorated with blue and white tile. So, very decorative, colorful place, which I love.
Yes, and with your design background and your artistic sketching
Mhm.
and background in fashion design,
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
these places must just light you up to want
It does. It does. I'm definitely a person who loves color and who loves sunshine. So that's why I like the Mediterranean so much. Yeah.
So, were there places in the past that have inspired some of your designs, or were some of the designing pretty much tailored to what the project was?
Well, the costume design is always inspired by a script. So you're designing for the characters in that script. But I think good designers pull from all sorts of experiences. You know, what happens when you go to an art gallery or see a film or listen to a concert, all of that stuff gets stored somehow up here.
Yeah,
And so when you're designing, you pull from that, whether you're doing a direct copy. Oh, I saw, this dress in a painting in Siena. It's not that way. It's just being exposed to other art, I think really contributes to how good a artist you are yourself.
right. Oh, I so agree. I definitely agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, Portugal just sounds fabulous.
Yeah. And didn't you just recently do an episode on the south of Spain?
Well, we're talking about going back to Spain. I
Oh,
went to Spain
okay.
a few years ago, and
Hmm.
since I hadn't been, I made the mistake of packing too many places in
Ah, yes,
one
yes.
trip. And
Hmm.
so I'm not 20 anymore either, and it just felt like we were constantly like getting in the van
Yeah,
and the next night
yeah,
staying somewhere else. And it just kind of, I came back and I felt like, which city did I see what? And
yeah,
it was like
yeah,
overload. It's like it was too
yeah.
much.
Well, I've always liked to stay in one place. I don't go for like 3 week trips, so a week to 2 weeks. Find one central place and rent an apartment or a house. And
Yeah.
in the south of Spain, I was looking for a villa on the south coast, and something came across my screen about um, a, uh, a small town on the water that had not yet become commercialized. And I immediately thought, oh, that sounds good. Because a lot of the south of Spain is just condos, condos, condos.
Um,
So this little bay is called La Herradura, which means the horseshoe. And I found a villa for rent up on the hill overlooking beautiful, beautiful modern villa, white, bougainvillea, its own pool.
oh,
Um,
fabulous.
yeah, so I got together with some friends and my sister and her husband, and we went there for a week. And from there, we had access within like an hour to um, all the little white villages of the
Oh,
south of Spain.
beautiful.
We also were only an hour away from Granada, where we went to see the Alhambra. And so, we were near um, other places that we could visit. Malaga, we went into Malaga. It was, I think, 45-minute drive. They have a wonderful Picasso museum there.
Oh,
And,
fabulous.
so that to me is the way to travel. Um, Now, when you're young and you haven't seen anything, yes, you should go and you should run around, you should see it all,
Right,
but not
exactly.
when you get older.
No, definitely slow down and take it all more in and
Yeah,
meet the
yeah,
locals and stay
exactly, exactly.
just let the
Yeah,
day unfold as it needs to.
exactly. It's so nice when you go to your local bar and they already know what your drink is, and you've only been there a
Yes,
few days.
exactly.
Yeah.
Have there been places in your many years of travel that you just probably wouldn't go back to, like once was enough?
Hmm. Um, well, there's places that have been less appealing to me. But not that they were bad experiences. I had the opportunity to be in Beijing, about 20 years ago now, as
Wow.
part of a Hollywood film exchange with their film industry. And Beijing was very smoggy. We never saw the sun and
Mm,
very crowded. And yes, the Forbidden City was amazing, but it's not somewhere that I'm just aching to go back to. Um, so there's places like that that are not on my top list.
right, right. And
Hmm.
I've honestly never been to New York City, and you spent time in New York City, haven't you, as a
Lived there,
fashion designer? I
yes.
mean,
Yeah. I lived there in the 60s when I was a young dancer and appeared in 3 Broadway shows.
wow.
Yeah, which was pretty spectacular of an experience. I don't mean that I was spectacular, but
No,
you
but
know,
the city then in the
the
60s, I mean,
city and Broadway. I mean, right down the street, Barbara Streisand had just opened in Funny Girl. It was like a huge hit. Hello Dolly had just opened. I mean, there was just fabulous shows all up and down Broadway within 3 blocks of where I was.
yeah, and
So,
just the era of the fashion magazine of Andy
yes. Oh,
Warhol, and then the early
yes.
years of all
Mhm.
those fabulous clubs where people just dressed to the
Yes.
nines. It must just
Yes.
have been an electric time to be there in the city.
It was. It was. It was remarkable. I have very fond memories. Of course, you remember the fonder ones. I lived in a fourth floor walk-up apartment, so I was young then and it wasn't a very big or very nice apartment and it was furnished with whatever I could find. So, you kind of blot those things out and you remember being in the city when it was such an exciting place.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Would you go back to New York? Have you been recently?
I was there about 2 years ago because I was invited by Journeywoman to be on a travel panel.
Oh, nice.
And so we talked about traveling like a rock star.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing the Journeywoman t-shirt on the cover of my book, my new book, because it sort of has my theory about traveling. That
Yeah.
you should just go for it and try and experience as much as you can.
Yeah, that is fabulous.
Yeah.
There's so many museums and things though in New York that I think it is a city that should be experienced.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's a very rich city. It's a very rich city. You know, there's a lot to see that's culturally really interesting. But it's busy and it's crowded and it's noisy. And, um, when I was there for the conference, I had a hotel room in the Marriott Marquis, which is right there at 42nd Street. And I'm up on the 40th floor and I'm looking at Times Square. And I mean, it was just sensory overload because all of
Right.
the video screens all competing with whatever they're advertising and just color and movement and noise. And I'm thinking, it wasn't like that when I was there.
Yeah.
But, times move on. You got to move on with them.
Yeah. So what brought you to Las Vegas?
Well, actually, my husband and I, we lived and worked in Los Angeles for 40 years. He is an actor and me as a costume designer. And I was designing a soap opera called Passions. And I did that for 5 years. And then the show got canceled. Soap
Mm.
operas were starting to cost the networks too much money.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they began to cancel some of them. And we got canceled. And I thought, well, I'm 68. Am I going to get another job? Um, and it was almost retirement time anyway. So my husband and I said, where can we go where we will have beautiful weather, where we will have lots to do related to show business, maybe even get part-time work there. Um, International airport where people will come and visit us and we can fly,
Yeah.
things seem to fit. So we moved to Las Vegas, I guess it's about 17 years ago, and never looked back. And my husband got a job as an actor in the show on the Strip, and I started designing films here. And then I got started teaching at UNLV, which I still do. I teach costume design for film.
Right, I know that's fabulous. It's like
I
a
love it.
whole nother life,
I
life
know.
and life
I
experience.
I keep reinventing myself. I don't know how many more
Right.
times I can do it, but anyway.
So how did the Foley's show fit into this?
The which show?
The Foley's show with wasn't that the one with Bob Mackie, the
Oh,
costume?
oh, no, it was a Jubilee.
Oh, Jubilee. I'm sorry. Yes.
Jubilee. Okay. Well, that gets me back to LA. When my I was just starting in costume design, coming out of my acting career, which had kind of stalled, and I was in my mid 30s, and you think, oh dear, this is going as well as I thought. Um, and I got an opportunity to design for Anne Margaret, who at the
Wow.
time had a huge Vegas act, and like it was the big act of the
Yeah,
time,
it was.
like Jennifer Lopez's would be now, or
Right.
something like that. Um, so I designed for her dancers, and then I designed for her, and through her I met Bob Mackie, and he asked me to be his assistant. So I worked for Bob for 2 years, and that's where I pretty much learned everything I know about costume design.
Oh, how fabulous, though. What
Yeah,
an amazing
it
experience.
was. Yeah, yeah.
And to meet
Yeah.
Anne Margaret. I mean, she's the one that Elvis said, he might have hooked up with. And
Yes, that was definitely happening. Yeah, they had a very, very intense love affair.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Hmm.
Wow. You've touched so many lives through your designs and your costumes. I mean, wow, just incredible.
Well,
Have
it's
you?
been varied, and I had a whole life as a dancer and then a whole life as an actress. And definitely majority of my career, the longest career, was in costume design. And now I'm in retirement phase, which is a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it is, especially since you're still able to share your, designing with new students.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's changed from the days of sketching and now with the computers
Oh,
and
yeah.
all the
Yeah.
other tools that designers have available to them.
Everything is done on the computer. I mean, when I first started teaching the students how to do what we call a costume plot or a breakdown of the script, we did it all by hand, the ruler and making columns and lines. And then if the script changed, you had to change everything by hand. Now it's all done by computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things, but you have to stay up to date with how things are done. But basically, the element of illustrating a character through what the character wears is the same. That's what the job of a costume designer is to understand who this person is and then help the audience recognize that character through what they're wearing. And also help the actor because the actor has to feel that the clothes are part of the whole personality that they're performing.
Yeah. Oh, that is definitely true.
Yeah.
Definitely true. So that
Yeah.
kind of leads into packing. I mean, I think packing these days has changed. I
Mhm.
mean, I think we need to pack with less items and just,
Less. Definitely less. And I say that especially to older travelers. And older travelers can be whatever you want it to be. It could be 60 and up, it could be my age. Um, the tendency to want to have the perfect outfit for each and every day and the perfect shoes to match doesn't make any sense because you have to carry this. And even if you check your bags, which I am in favor of, don't try and carry it all off.
no, oh no.
It's still strenuous. You got to wheel that luggage, you got to lift it up onto the scales, you've got to lift it off the carousel. And if it weighs 45 pounds, I mean, it's crazy. It's just too hard on the body. So, um, I actually have started rolling my clothes now and
Okay.
I travel with a duffel bag that
Oh,
has
okay.
wheels. Yeah.
Right.
And I first discovered that when I went to Africa about 3 years ago. And the company that you go with actually sends you a specific duffel bag that they want you to use. And I looked at it when it arrived and I thought, I can't get 3 weeks worth of safari wear in there. But it's amazing. You lay your clothes out and then you roll them up in one big roll very tight.
Hmm.
It keeps them from getting crease, and you'd be amazed how much you can get in a small space.
That's amazing. That's an interesting tip right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm always surprised when I see my finished bag. I think, wow, I've got 3 dresses and 4 pants and 6 shirts in there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Right, but it is true. We have this tendency if we like clothes and we like fashion, like, oh, I want to wear a different pair of shoes or I might
Yeah,
want to do that. And it's
yeah,
like when you're actually in the week or 2 weeks of traveling or three
yeah,
weeks,
yeah,
it just gets laborious and heavy,
yeah,
like you said. I mean, even if you roll it or have an elevator to get it to your room, you
yeah.
still gotta heave it up onto your luggage
Oh,
rack.
yeah,
And it's just so time consuming.
yeah,
You're shuffling through
yeah.
this stuff and
And even if you're carrying on a luggage, maybe not your main piece, but you've got a backpack or a big shoulder bag, if it's 20 pounds and you have a long way to walk to get from the
oh,
checkpoint to the gate, that's very hard on your body. So why do it?
yeah, I agree, agree.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's try to pick things,
yeah.
fabrics, things that can mix and match.
Yeah, yeah. And I always pack, I wear one, obviously wear one pair of shoes, usually the most bulky, and then at the most 2 more pairs. And inevitably I don't wear one of those, because you kind of get into your most comfy shoes and you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Same
yeah,
with the pants. I always tell people try everything on before you
mhm,
go.
yeah,
Because if you buy something new, inevitably you take it, it might not fit right, it might not be
exactly.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And clothes that don't wrinkle. I mean, I don't take a whole lot of crisp linen things on my trips, even though I like to wear linen in Las Vegas because it's so very hot here, but it's not good for traveling. So, there's so many fabrics now that you can roll up in a ball and they just stay exactly perfect.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever done a solo trip? I know there's ladies out there
Um,
that are solo traveling.
I know. It's funny because I feel like I have, but it hasn't been solo all the way. I wanted to go to Africa, and had never been and had heard all these wonderful stories about safaris. And I thought, I better go now while I still can. So I signed up to go with a friend, and then she had to drop out.
Oh,
I thought, well, I'm going anyway. So I did the plane trips, and it's a long way, let me tell you. It's many, many hours to get to Johannesburg.
gosh. Oh, God.
But once there, I joined up with, there was a group of, I think, 14 people on this particular tour. And I said, I know with 14 people, I'm going to be able to make friends. And actually, it was fine. I didn't feel alone at all. And I don't mind traveling on a plane by myself. I'm quite used to doing that.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of how I am. I'm
yeah,
okay like traveling on the plane and getting to the first destination, but then I want to meet people. I want to share
yeah,
the experience in a
exactly.
way.
You want to have dinner with someone or drinks with
Yeah,
someone. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
So
there are,
that kind of solo travel I haven't really done, where I'm alone day in and day out. Um, but I know for some people they find it very rewarding, and Journey Women promotes it, and it's good for people who are at a point in their life where they really want to explore not only places but themselves.
mm-hmm,
And it's a very good way. You are the boss of every
right.
minute of your day, and you can do what you want or don't do what you don't want to. And so, and it's becoming more and more prevalent, more popular.
Yeah, it really is. But I
Yeah.
do think for those that don't want to spend every day, every minute alone, there are so many places to find groups. There's
Yes. Oh,
Good grief, there's Facebook groups, there's Journey Woman has their
yeah.
newsletter, which is fabulous. I highly
Yeah.
recommend people sign up for it.
Yeah.
Even churches are still hosting groups.
Yes.
Universities, I think universities
Exactly.
often host some
Yeah.
travel.
And there are various groups through Facebook, solo travelers over 50, women who love sailing. You just enter it and then there'll be a group. And, once you're in the group, as long as you're, um, similar attitudes about life, it's fine. I did one trip to Morocco, which again started out with a friend, and then she unfortunately got ill and had to come home early.
Oh no.
But we were with, there were 14 of us, and in a van, and we toured around Morocco in a van, and most of them were in their 40s. But I didn't really feel older. I never have. I've loved being with younger people. So I never felt like I was a fish out of water, and I don't think they ever treated me that way. So, I don't know if I was with a bunch of 20-year-olds who wanted to drink and party, until
Right.
2 in the morning. That wouldn't work. But other than that, I'm fine with anyone from anywhere.
Yeah. How was Morocco? That is a place I haven't been, and I'm still
Morocco's
considering.
wonderful. I love Morocco because the cities again are so ornate and ancient and tiled and colorful. Um, and then you have the desert, which is just so exotic and vast and unique. So both times I've been both in the cities and then gone down to the Sahara, rode a camel,
Oh
stayed
wow.
overnight in the desert, and the stars are absolutely amazing because you're so far away from any city lights that you see stars the way our ancestors saw stars, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even begin to know what stars look like living in the
No,
city.
we don't. We just
Yeah,
don't see it. We have
yeah,
that light pollution, especially like places like LA, Vegas, New
yeah,
York.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
just this constant, like, people say,
yeah,
oh, the northern lights are out. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to see them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can
Mm,
see the sphere, but I can't see the northern lights from my
I
house.
know. No.
How was the food in Morocco?
Food is wonderful. How can I describe it? It's hard to describe a cuisine. They do a lot of um, it's like stews.
Hmm.
I can't remember the name. Anyone, I'm sure, is thinking the name aloud in their brain, but um,
They
you
have those
know,
like tagine or
yes, tagine, thank you. Yeah,
yeah, something
yeah.
like that. Like it's
And so
a
we will
it's a
have chicken and carrots and onions, and it's stewed until it's very, very hot. Um, and there's various other kinds of food that are wonderful. Yeah, so that was great, and certainly some of the places that we were eating in was so decorative. You talk about
wow.
patterns, color on color on color. You can be sitting on a banquette that's covered with this bright pattern, and you think, well, that's enough. And
Yeah.
then your wall will have a drape that's another complete pattern.
Wow.
And then the ceiling will be decorated. I mean, it's rich with pattern and color.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that to me is fun.
Do you
Yeah.
ever bring like fabrics back as a designer from any of these travels, or is
I
it just
don't really
too
bring fabrics because um well, I did bring fabrics back from Africa. But generally speaking, I don't because I've already got a closet full of fabrics. And unless I know I'm going to use it, it just becomes more clutter. Uh,
right?
yeah. But yeah, I buy small things. I bought in Morocco, I bought caftans, which I wear
Oh,
in my house. When most people are wearing their sweats at night, I'm in a Moroccan caftan.
oh, that
Because
sounds
it's like it's a
lovely.
big comfy nightgown, full length, you know, really comfy, but it's beautiful at the same time. So,
Yeah, that
um,
sounds like a wonderful thing to bring back. It's
yeah,
something you're actually going to wear and
exactly.
another
Yeah,
reason to leave your suitcase less full when you go.
right. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
So, what are some other travel tips for older women who want meaningful experiences or make their travels if they haven't been somewhere?
Well, again, I would consider having one place as your central place, and packing and unpacking just once. Now, I know people like to do cruises, but I'm not a big fan of the big boat cruises um, because, there's thousands of people, and I don't really want to travel with thousands of people. I want to travel where I meet people. Um, so getting back to staying in one place, if you want, for instance, to see France, get an apartment in Paris
Oh,
and
yes.
spend a week in Paris. And then you can take a day trip up to um, uh, the beaches of Normandy, or you can take a day trip. The trains are great. So, not that there isn't enough to see in Paris anyway, but there's other things you can do out of Paris. But you come back every night. So, you come back to your home and your temporary home, and your things are all there, and you've got, wine in the fridge waiting for you.
Yes.
So, you're not constantly packing and unpacking, getting into taxis and getting, it's very tiring.
Yeah, that is. That is a good tip, just to kind of choose one place to base
One
out of.
central place. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be in the middle of the city. I mean, for instance, Italy's countryside is so gorgeous. Um, and so rather than getting an apartment in the middle of Rome, which is like being in the middle of New York in many ways, go a little further out and get an apartment or little house somewhere in the country. You have to be able to drive, and some people are nervous about driving, but I never have been. So, um, and then you're just surrounded by all these wonderful places to go.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, my husband and I, we had a farmhouse in Tuscany, in the heart of Tuscany, that we ended up going back 4 times because it
Oh,
was so
wow.
perfect. And it was like an hour from Montalcino, from Montepulciano, from Siena. We went into Siena twice to see the Palio, the horse races.
Right.
Um, and it was like an hour's drive, which is perfect. And then by evening, we'd be back home and we'd make dinner and we'd sit out under the olive trees and drink wine. So much better than running around or being in a hotel.
Oh, that sounds fabulous right
Yeah.
there, and you get to know that little area and kind of
Oh,
adapt it as a temporary.
yes, yes. And the little village that we were in, I mean, the people knew us even after, just a few days, they'd wave to us, or the little local grocery store. Um, One time, just a quick little story, but it's so
Yeah.
typical. We went in to get supplies, and Dominic was going to make a very simple spaghetti, and he got the ingredients, and he asked for fresh garlic. And the woman who ran the place was horrified that she had run out of garlic. Oh, mi dispiace, terrible, terrible. Donna said, "Oh, don't worry." Anyway, we left. We went, 5 minutes to the farmhouse. And then we see his car coming up the road. We see dust and it's coming closer and closer. And the dear lady had gone back to her own house
Oh my
and got
goodness.
this garlic from her garden and brought it to us. I
Oh my
mean,
God. Yeah.
you can't beat those experiences.
No, you can't. That's a beautiful story.
I know. Yeah.
Oh,
And there
that's
was a little man who lived at the end of our little road, who had wine, made wine in his cellar. And he showed us, he took us down. He said, "This is the red, this is the white." And he said, "You come in and you fill up your plastic water bottles with wine and leave me €1." And he said, "And if I'm not here, anyone will tell you where the key is hidden."
wow.
So,
I don't think anyone in the United States would probably do that.
no, I know. But
Oh
that's,
my
that's
goodness.
small town life in the heart of Italy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been to Greece? Because you mentioned the Mediterranean.
Yes, I have. I was I've been to Athens a couple of times, and then I've been to the islands. And in fact, last year, um, I was in Santorini and then Crete.
Oh,
And
wow.
Crete is quite wonderful. Though actually I broke my ankle in Santorini,
Oh
which
no.
wasn't the best thing to happen. First time I've ever broken a bone in my life, but that's a whole nother story. I got very good care, by the way, locally. Um, but Santorini is amazing visually, but it's also become so full of tourists that
Oh,
it's almost sad. I mean, there's massive buses that clog these tiny streets
oh,
and crowds and crowds of people following someone with a little flag. Um, it's just, oh, and a lot of westernized chain restaurants have opened there instead of the little Greek tavernas.
oh no.
Yeah, so I mean, that was sad to see.
That is
Um,
sad because it is a
yeah.
place I'd like to go, but again, I want to see it in its authenticity as such. I really,
Well, you may not, but it's
right.
worth seeing anyway because it's so spectacular. When you're up on that cliff and you see all the white buildings tucked into the cliff, it's amazing.
Wow.
And Mykonos is the same way. I mean, it's always been touristy, but I think tourism now has become so possible for so many people. And how lucky I shouldn't be the only one that gets to travel.
Right.
So God bless them. Everybody do it. But it's the same thing. There's crowds and crowds. And a lot of it is because of the cruise ships. You
Yes,
get three cruise ships in port, and they unload 5,000 people each. You've got 15,000 additional people
I
in
know.
the
It's just,
tiny, tiny towns. And, Venice is suffering from this. And these little places you know, can't support 15,000 people
no, they
coming
just
in,
can't.
you know?
It's just too much.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it kind of goes back to as travelers who want more authentic experiences. I mean, yes, you're going to have
Mhm.
to see Venice, you're going to have to deal with it, but maybe
Yeah,
choosing an off time to go, those months.
definitely. Off season is good. Or again, choosing a place to stay that's not right in the main tourist area. Um, 2 years ago, six of us went to Venice and I found an amazing apartment. It was only about 15 minutes away from the big square. Um, and uh, it was in an old building, but had been renovated. So we had a balcony that overlooked a canal
Oh,
and,
wow.
gondolas coming by, little bar right opposite. So it is possible. You just you have to know how to plan it and do a little research. And um, I think I've always been very comfortable doing research and taking chances, and
Yeah.
99% of the time they turn out great. But if you use a travel agent and they just say, "Oh, you stay at the Hotel Rialto," you may just end up in the most touristy part of Venice. Um,
Yeah, I
you have to
think I
be
think
willing to take chances.
yeah, I think that's a good point. And
Yeah,
be willing to do a little research, seeking
yeah.
out even some of these blog writers or travel writers have
Mhm.
will share, someone that's local that, like
Yeah,
you said, you go
yeah,
on and find a vacation
yeah,
rental property or
yeah,
maybe a
yeah.
smaller family owned hotel that doesn't have big
Exactly,
budget.
exactly. And VRBO and Airbnb, um, I've only had one experience. It wasn't even bad. It's just that the apartment looked a little grungier than it did in the pictures.
Right.
It was a little disappointing. And of course, naturally, I'd recommended it to my sister and her husband, and they thought it was a bit
Oh no.
not quite up to scale. They were very nice, but the location was perfect. Absolutely great location.
Oh,
But
good.
most of the time, I have found that my Airbnbs and VRBOs look exactly like the pictures, and that the hosts are kind and willing to help you. So, um, I would feel safe recommending it to anybody. Just do the research.
Yeah, do your due diligence. And if,
Yeah,
if I do the same, if something's not clear in the listing, send a message, ask questions, get those
exactly.
questions answered.
Exactly. Yeah. if they say it has four bedrooms and they only show pictures of the three, it makes me wonder what the fourth bedroom looks like, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or, if it says simple but cozy, that's a kind of a red flag. And
Yeah.
I also look at the location. Once I know the location, I then go on Google Earth and I see where it is. And if it's
Oh,
on the edge of town with no restaurants around, or if it's, somewhere seedy, you can, get a sense also of where it is located. So,
yeah, that is smart. That's
yeah,
another good tip,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So, as far as travel insurance, do you always use travel insurance yourself now when you travel, or?
Yes and no. I think um, older people should definitely have medical coverage, travel. Um, I put all of my airfares and bookings through Chase Visa, uh,
Okay.
the Chase Sapphire card, and it has its own travel insurance for things like missed flights, lost luggage, um, delays, hotel stays, that kind of thing. Um, and I think you can over-insure. It's the same thing when you rent a car. You actually have pretty
Yes.
good car coverage, and they try and sell you another, $15 a day for complete coverage. So again, do your homework, find out what coverage is. And so,
Yeah,
but
that's
yes, I
smart.
think definitely for older people because, I never thought I would slip and fall and break my ankle. First time in my life that's happened. So, and these things do happen, and accidents, illness, and people have to sometimes be flown home early. And so I think that aspect of it is very important. Um, I wouldn't overpay for things like lost luggage unless you're
Yeah.
taking your diamonds with you.
Right.
Yeah. uh, you know, you just kind of have to assess. Um, what's important for you to put at risk.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
But it can happen. Like you said, you had your friend that needed to leave the Moroccan trip
Yeah.
and go home. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely happens.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, can you share something that didn't go as planned, other than the Airbnb that wasn't quite up to snuff?
Oh, oh, let me think. Didn't go as planned. Not really. Oh yes. Well, I'll tell you one story, and it's on me. It's going to make me look very stupid. So I'm
No, I,
going to
I've,
share it.
I
I've always had trouble with the 24-hour clock. I just can't adjust to it. And we were going to Italy on a trip, and Dominic's sister and husband were going to meet us at the airport in Rome. We were going to land within an hour of each other. So the flight was at 20:30, leaving LA. This is when we lived in LA. So I thought, oh, okay, 10:30. We get to the airport at 8:30, thinking we had 2 hours to get on the
oh,
flight. And the flight was, about to take off, and they wouldn't let us on because 20:30 is actually 8:30 p.m.
oh, okay,
And I
right,
had miscalculated. So
right.
there we are, we've missed the flight. This is before cell phones, before we
Oh,
could
oh
call up.
no.
My sister-in-law said, guess what? So anyway, we had to buy new tickets, which we went to New York, and then there was a connecting flight to Rome. There was a big thunderstorm. We didn't know if we were going to take off. We sat on the runway. The whole time we were in a panic because we
Oh,
knew my
yeah.
sister-in-law and husband were going to be at the airport. And they were panicked. And actually, we eventually got there 2 hours after the supposed rendezvous time and found them. And, they didn't know what to do. They didn't have the name of the place we were going to stay. They didn't have anything.
Oh,
So
no.
I have learned to be very wary whenever a plane or a train is listed in military 24-hour
Yes.
clock. I said, oh God. So yeah, that's when something went wrong.
Well, that luckily that wasn't too far off to be able to get new tickets and get there
Oh,
only
I
two
know.
hours because it could have
I
been a
know.
full day. Nowadays,
I
everything's
know.
oversold and everything's hard
Yeah,
to, yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty miraculous that it was only 2 hours.
Yeah. And then, as it turned out, the rest of the holiday was spectacular because we had rented an apartment on the Amalfi Coast. So once
Oh,
we got the
wow.
trauma of, the traveling out of the way and got to our apartment, it was just glorious. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. All of these stories have been so much fun. So, can you reveal one of the places you're going to travel to in 2026?
Yes. I am going to do a river cruise down the Danube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I live in a 55 and older community. So there's a lot of people my age and a lot of single people my age. So I had spotted a really good deal on a river cruise down the Danube. And I said to one of my friends here, do you want to do it? It's only, this amount of money.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, two more people said, we'd like to do that too. Well, we're now 13 people going on this cruise.
13. Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Just from your community there.
Yeah, people just saying, "Oh, we hear that you're all going on a cruise, and can I have the link? I might like to go too." So yeah, so that's going to be fun. So that's going to be this late May, beginning of June.
Oh,
So, and
lovely.
I haven't been to that part of the world, that kind of Germany, Austria, Hungary part of the world at all. So it's going to be very new for me.
Yeah, and I like the idea of a river cruise because, like you, I don't want to do a big old cruise ship. Those just
Yeah,
turn me off personally.
yeah,
I know for a lot of people, it's a great way for them to
yeah.
travel. So I don't want to say too much negatively since I
I
honestly
know.
have never done it. But
Yeah,
a
I
river
think it's
cruise just
excellent for
sounds,
families, to be quite honest. I think families can travel together and have a lot of fun, and kids have a lot to do. And
that's
um,
true. For
yeah,
multi generations like that, you're
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
It makes a
yeah.
lot of sense because they
But
can
this
have,
would be my third river cruise, and I love the river cruises because there's
oh,
only about 180 passengers. And by the end of the cruise, half of them, because it's not that big a boat.
yeah,
And you
180. That's
dock
nice.
right, if you're on the river, it's not like you're docking 10 miles out of the city. You dock right there at the river where the town is, and you can walk right into town from the boat. So
Oh, nice.
there's not that other separation where that you're in a big cruise port and then you have to be bussed into where, the town is. And it's just a whole different experience. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
that sounds lovely. That sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a beautiful time to go. So,
Yeah. May is perfect. May is a wonderful month to travel. And I always finish teaching right about the second week in May. So I always sign up for something right after that.
yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Diana, so much for sharing. You've got two books. You've got the stars in their underwear, and
Mm-hmm.
then your new book is some.
Getting old and other indignities.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just about, what it's like to get old, and it's not all that bad. So, a little reality and a little humor mixed in together.
That's wonderful. And then
Yeah.
you also can find your writings on Journeywoman. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, I've had over 40 articles posted there, and I think most of them are still up on everything from how to find a roommate for a cruise to um, how to live like a local in Las Vegas, or how to have a cheap vacation in Antigua. Many, many, many articles. So yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
And you'll be at Copper Cup Books here in
Yes,
Henderson, Las
yes.
Vegas
I'm
this
excited.
Saturday. I'm super
Yeah,
excited.
I
So
know.
come and meet Diana in person. And what's your website, Diana, if people want
It's
to?
DianaEdenDesigns.com. All run together, one word.
Wonderful. Well, I've
Yeah.
so appreciated this conversation and hope to
Thank
have
you.
many more. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Yes.
much, Diana.
All right. Thanks.